I've said a bit about you. You're charismatic, you're people-centered, you're result-oriented, you add value wherever you go. But this is my description of you. So who are you?
Wow, that's a very good question, and thank you again for the very nice words, kind words. I'm not too sure about your charismatic and all these fancy words that you've given me, but one thing that is for sure is that I definitely love people development. I love to be able to add value. And for the past 20 years plus, I've had the opportunity to work with different organizations, both brownfields and greenfields, multinationals, local companies, but most importantly, I've worked with people in the midst of transforming businesses and also developing them. And I've come to have a passion for making sure that the generation that is going to come after us, or the people who are taking over from us, both in corporate and in the society, are going to be standing on the shoulders of giants. They need to be better than us so that the society and Ghana as a whole will become better. So this is the thing that keeps me up at night. This is what is the passion that I have, and this is one of the reasons why EA Talk Series or Climbing to the Talk Series is something that is very important to me.
Wonderful. And you spoke about passion. And indeed, I've known you as someone who is so passionate, which brings me to the topic for today. The product called you. And I know that for you to be able to sell that product called you, you must be passionate, you must be enthusiastic. To you, what does this mean and why this concept of the product called you?
Okay, thank you very much, Joyce. No matter how you look at it, I think for every individual, the biggest project you'd ever work on is you. The biggest product brand that you would ever have to work on is you. And nobody is going to do it for you unless you do it yourself. You have the ability to reset, to refocus, and redo yourself over and over again. But there is something that I've learned over these past few years working with brands and products, and these are similarities in terms of how individuals put in a lot of efforts when they are developing or selling the products that we see on shelves, etc.
Tell me about
it. But we don't seem to put the same energy or the learnings from doing that when it comes to ourselves. So I sat down and had a very quick think through, and I thought there are similarities and there are things that we could learn from how we as marketeers or product owners or corporate organizations manage our brands and our products, and how we could translate it into making ourselves better, just so that we can be the best of ourselves for our communities, for our families, and also for the nation as a whole.
And you spoke about the fact that when we are marketing a product, usually we will spend hours and hours and hours understanding what the product is before we go to the client. But when it comes to ourselves, usually it's almost haphazard. We do not, there's no deliberateness about what we do. But then you also spoke about being part of a solution. And I know that for you to become a true leader, what we have been told in leadership seminars is that you must be somebody who finds problems. You don't end there. You see the problem and then you go ahead and proffer solutions. How then, as young people, do you think we should be taking this to the next level so that we can develop the product called you?
So I think there's a couple of things. First is the realization that there is a problem. And for the past, like I said, a few decades that I've been on this planet called Earth, having traveled across various countries and also within Ghana, I've realized that Ghanaians as individuals are very resilient. We have a lot of grit, and we have ways and means that we get things done. But even when you are out of this country, you realize Ghanaians thriving in places that you don't even expect them to thrive. But then you ask yourself, imagine all this knowledge, expertise that Ghanaians know, Ghanaians are able to share to the generation that is coming after us. They wouldn't have to reinvent the wheel. They would just build on the knowledge, both the right ones and the mistakes that we've made, and quantum leap. And I feel we need, as the current generation and as EA, I think we need to create the right environment where we are going to bring together people who have learned or who have this experience and the people who are eager to learn from this experience
Okay.
and deliver it the right way. What is the right way? Yes, there's been a lot of books written, very much so needed for books to be written. But there's also a lot of documentaries that people are watching. But sometimes when you have those one-on-one interactions and conversations with the up and coming,
You're
you
right.
realize that you will drop some nuggets into their life, and things that you've learned over 10 years, they will be able to learn in 1 hour. So if we're able to create this platform, I believe it's going to help bring this knowledge that has been amassed in the minds of well-doing Ghanaians into the hands of Ghanaians, and then the future is brighter. So this is the main purpose. This is what I think we should be doing. And this is what I want to champion.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you, Edwin. You know, you kept saying Ghanaians. So you're not saying a Ghanaian or one person or me as myself. But so I hear critical mass. You really are looking at, and you even said quantum leap. So you're looking at critically, let's get a lot of people in a certain way. Why is this critical mass so important?
This is very important for me, and I'll use a little bit of science experiments to explain this. In science, we learned that energy cannot be created or destroyed, but it can be transformed from one person to another.
Yeah.
Whenever you have a vibrating ball, one vibrating ball,
okay,
and it's vibrating at a very high intensity or frequency. If you drop this ball into a glass that has other balls that are latent, one or two things is going to happen.
Good.
The first thing is that the ball is going to be vibrating so much so that it will cause all the other balls in the container to vibrate.
Yeah.
Or the latency in the cup or the container is going to drain all the energy from the ball,
yeah,
and then make it like them.
Yes.
This is what happens it happens when there's only one person who has the energy. Most of the time, when you get into a place where there's no energy or the critical mass of people don't have the energy, you will very soon, no matter how highly you are vibrating, lose the energy and become like them. So we need everybody to be vibrating at least at a certain level of frequency.
Perfect.
With that, the energy becomes transformed from one level onto another. So I really believe that we need to get the critical mass of people thinking the same way. Let's not keep the information to ourselves. Let's not share it with our children. Yes, 2, 3 children. Then what happens? This child that you've educated, that you've enlightened, is going to go into a workplace, and he's going to meet 50 people who are not like him or her.
Yeah.
And very soon, she'll be burnt out. Imagine we get all those 50 people, at least at a certain level of engagement, at a certain level of knowledge. As soon as he gets there, iron sharpens iron. It will catch fire and there will be an explosion. So this is what I mean when I think about getting the critical mass of people educated or sensitized with the knowledge that has been deposited in Ghanaians, so that we'll live ahead faster and better.
Beautiful. Audience, I hope that you're grabbing some nuggets, because for me, it almost feels like I want to just have you to myself so that we can have this conversation. It's such a beautiful conversation. You spoke about energy. And for me, I am very big on energy, because I do understand, you're so right, that you get to a place and it's either you affect the energy or the energy affects you. And it's very important if you have a lot of that energy so you don't get burnt out. So thank you very much. But aside that vibrancy and energy and enthusiasm, what else will be those characteristics or behaviors that we want EA Talk series to be able to draw out from young minds so that we can create the critical mass we are looking at?
So what EA Talk series or Climbing to the Top series is going to do is to create a platform. Okay, we're going to create a platform, and through my network, through the people I interact with, we are going to bring together people who have really walked the path of building something from A to B.
Good.
And we are not going to bring them on a platform where they're just going to deliver, academic-worthy conversations, but they are going to really tell you how they were able to move from point A to point B.
Perfect.
The mistakes they made and the watch-outs. Those 20 years of experience or 10 years of experience would be put into the hands of their youth, the people who are gathered, so that they can be able to use it to move to the next level. This is, for me, very critical. It's the art of mentorship, of coaching,
Good.
putting people together under an environment where I call no bullshit.
Good.
And we look at situations the way they are and hand-holding them if need be.
Okay.
So mentorship and coaching is very key. There are also other qualities that I think will come out, but most of these qualities is specific, person specific, role specific, level specific. But bringing the people together and granting them the avenue to have the conversations is where this is going to start. And that is what I want to provide.
Good. So now we have spoken about, I think, in general terms, and it will be good to come home and look at really, when we talk about the product you have been in the FMCG where I met you, you've been in the telcos, you now are in sanitation. And I want to ask, when it comes to managing the product you, what is a cycle and what should we be mindful of?
Very, very interesting. And I would like to break this down into 5 key points
Good.
that I think, in drawing the parallels, it will be able to position or situate this, put this into context.
Good.
And a lot of marketeers and a lot of marketing experts have a lot of different life cycles that they would like to propose. But I have carefully selected 5. And I think these are going to be very important for my listeners and for all of us to learn from. For me, I have put them into something I call TAPS. Okay, TAPS. TPPS.
All right. Okay. So just for our listeners, so we have TAPS. So our listeners, I hope that you have your pens, your pencils, your notebooks there, because we are just about to go into a workshop, and it's TAPS. So EA, let's hear, what is TAPS?
So T is for targeting.
Targeting.
Okay.
Good.
For any product that is to be developed, you need to critically identify who you are selling to.
Good.
Who is going to buy this product?
All right.
And I keep on asking this question. If you were a product, will you buy yourself? You need to really ask yourself that. If I were to be a product, will I even buy myself? If the question is no, then you need to ask, you need to redefine or redo or refocus how this product is supposed to be.
In fact, I want you to pause there. Let me ask my audience. Audience, if you were a product, will you buy you? Let's go.
I hear them saying yes.
Okay.
So yes, targeting is very key. And targeting your consumer base or your customer base is very important. Now, how do you do this? There's the people, or there will be the customers that you would like to please. And then there's the ones that you would like to delight. And I have come to understand that there's a very sweet spot when it comes to delighting your customers.
Okay.
And it's the intersection between when you find yourself understanding what you are good at, understanding what will bring you money,
all right,
and then understanding what you enjoy doing. What you are good at, what will reward you, which I call bring you money, and then what you are good at.
Good.
The intersection of this place is a sweet spot where you find the people that you will be able to delight. It's very important that you know these people and understand what it is that they want for you to be able to deliver to them. Because a product will need to answer a certain need that they have. So finding that sweet spot and designing yourself or redefining yourself as a person, you will be able to meet that need, and then you will delight those group of people there for a long time. I say this too. You cannot please everybody. You are not ice cream.
Even ice cream.
And you are not US dollars. You may not be able to please everybody. But those core people in the middle, I believe that if you're able to identify them, you would be able to please them. And that positions you as a product that will be picked off the shelf. That is what T stands for.
Okay.
So understanding your consumer, understanding the product that you are selling,
perfect,
and also positioning. That is making sure that you are in that sweet spot where what you do is important, very important. What brings you money or reward is very important. And what you are good at is also very important. And
in fact, I want you to hold on there, because usually when you are starting a startup, for instance, these are the key things that they tell you. That it is not just about what you love to do, but it is also what brings you money and what people love. Thank you very much, Edwin. Exactly. Now let's go to A.
Actually, we're going to P, because TA is target.
Okay. All right. Okay.
So we're going to the P.
Okay.
And that P is packaging. You know, I hear this a lot when you go on social media. They talk about packaging and settings.
Packaging.
They talk about packaging and settings. And I think for a long time, some people, or most of us as Ghanaians or even Africans, we've been very, very mindful and careful about how we put ourselves out there. But I say we have to be intentionally and deliberately open and
But
put
don't you
ourselves out
think
there.
don't you think packaging has now become the order of the day?
It's not wrong for it to be the order of the day, so long as what you are promising is what you are delivering.
Okay.
And this is very important. Packaging needs to be authentic. First
Okay.
of all, you need to be unregrettably, unforgivingly visible. Because if I can't see you, I cannot choose you. This is why you go onto all the shelves and everywhere in any supermarket and you see a lot of nice displays. Do you think that it is just by coincidence that a certain brand will buy a certain shelf space and display the products nicely, where we would even have merchandisers who are cleaning it every morning to make sure? Because it has to be attractive, it has to be visible. When you enter the shop, you need to hit the eyeball. That is only when you get into the consideration set of even being chosen. So I think that human beings, people, need to understand that we need to be irrevocably, unapologetically visible, number one. Then number two is that you need to be able to deliver on your promise.
Okay.
So there are a couple of times that you would have a packaging that looks very nice. You get close to the product and read it and realize that it is not what you want. Neither does it have what you are requiring. So it's important that your packaging also brings out your unique selling proposition.
Yeah.
You can be visible for the very wrong thing, which is actually very bad. You can be very visible and everybody knows you for something that is not good and something that you don't intend to sell. And even the other way around, sometimes people come to me and they say this, oh, that's how people see me, but that's not how I am. But if that is how people see you, then it means that you are a different product in a bad packaging. And you need to work on that packaging because what people see is what they are going to buy and what they are going to be attracted to. You understand? So packaging for me is also very important. Your unique selling proposition should be front of pack. If I am Joyce and my best or my most prominent feature and what I want to market is my voice,
Yeah.
why do you always use sign language?
That's true.
Or why are you not bringing out that thing that differentiates you from all the others? If it's your voice, it's your face, it's your ability to have a conversation, then you might as well bring it front of pack and be unforgivingly visible with it. So that people would, when they think about people who have good conversations, joy should come top of mind. And this is very important. In the past, we used to say, "Ahwenepa and kasa,"
Yes.
Good beats don't rattle.
Yeah, don't rattle. Yeah, that's true.
But in the current context of social media, you need to find a way of breaking out of the clutter and you need to speak. So that is packaging. That's number two.
Hold on there.
Okay.
Does dressing count here? And also, does where you usually find yourself, what the people that you work with or surround yourself with, does it matter here as well?
Okay, so imagine you go into a supermarket. I don't want to mention any of them. And you want to get beer.
All right.
Will you be working in the milk segment?
No.
Because that is not where you find beer.
Yeah.
So your associations, the way you present yourself, and who you hang around with, it's very important. It's all part of the packaging. You put yourself in the right space so that when beer is being considered or drinks are being considered, when they come there, you are part of the consideration set. So being with the right people, showing the right attributes, being distinctive in your packaging, which means the way you dress, the way you speak, the way you make your first impressions, it's key because that is what gets you picked off the shelf before we even read the ingredients list to check whether you have vitamin A, vitamin B, or you need to be in the right place and you need to speak. If you are selling vitamin D, then let it be front of pack. Let it be there. And we do this so well as marketeers when we are designing labels.
True.
But when it comes to ourselves sometimes it's a little bit downplayed. So
the word here, or the phrase here, is be front of pack. Now, what is the next acronym?
So the next one, for me, it's promotion and advertisement.
All right.
Promotion and advertisement. This is where actually I bring in the need for networking and exposure. Okay. Do you have a clue how much companies, organizations spend on free trials when it comes to their products? I'm sure you would have an idea.
Exactly.
You would have that idea. Why do they do that? Is it because they can't sell that product? No. It's because we believe as marketeers that if someone gets an experience, gets to try,
Yes.
gets to taste,
Yes.
it is very easy that the person will get to the point where we call repurchase.
Yes.
And then the person will move to advocacy.
Yes.
You see? So free trials, promotion, is very important. We are in a country now where most people who get out of school, even before they've tried their hands on anything, put a price tag on themselves. And they say, if you don't pay this, I'm not going to come and work with you. But most organizations have not even tried you. We are not even sure whether you can do the work you can do.
Wow.
What happened to volunteerism? What happened to building some level of experience by giving yourself and your expertise out for free? This is what I mean by promotion and advertisement.
So, hold on here, Edwin. If I'm a makeup artist, obviously I may have bought the product that I'll be using for the trial on your face. How am I expected to have free trials for people just because I'm advertising?
Okay, so every business that one may want to enter into requires a certain investment.
Okay.
And this investment should be able to yield results either in the short term and in the long term.
Yeah.
You should consider the energy, the cost of some of these things as the investments that you are making for the long-term benefits that you will get as a makeup artist.
Okay.
If it means that your few makeups or your few set of makeups that you buy has to go into giving people a free face beat, so that when they go out there and they get all the accolades, the next time they are going out, they are going to come to you. That is your investment. Trust me, you will recoup all those trials that you've done if you get repeat repurchase from the people that you used it on. And this is what businesses do. I've done it so many times. Sometimes your free samples budget is almost half of your full year marketing expense.
Budget.
But it's because we believe that people would enjoy it, and they will get hooked on it, and in the future it's going to pay. It's going to pay off. So it's you put it in and it's going to come out. So I believe that we shouldn't see it as a waste. We shouldn't see the energy and the trials and the volunteerism and even taking up additional responsibility as a waste. It's a way of putting yourself out there to show that I can do it. It's your advert, free advertisement, relatively, which is going to yield fruits for you in the coming year. So that's the third one.
Before we go to the next acronym, and that's to say that, or the next letter is to say that usually if you believe in the product that you're selling, you have no doubt in your mind that when you give it out for free, you're going to get a repeat purchase, isn't it?
Yes.
So it means that you yourself, as that product, must ensure that all the other things are in place so that when you get out onto the market, you're going to ensure that you're bringing back some return on the free investment that you have done.
Exactly.
Thank you so much, Edwin. So Edwin, now, what is the next letter?
I love where you landed because it gets into the product experience.
Good.
So guess what? You can have very nice packaging.
Okay.
And you can actually have a very big visibility and everybody knows you. But the first time anybody decides to try your product, what experience do you give them? This is what the marketeers call first moment of truth. And then they have what you call second moment of truth. So at that first moment of truth, are you able to deliver on the expectation? All the expectation that you've touted on your packaging as this is the most refreshing drink that you can have under the sun in Ghana. When I open the crown cork and I gulp it down, do I spit it out? Or I do? When you get that moment, it means your first moment of truth, you've delivered on your promise. And that is the entry. That's what gets you in. The first impressions will open the door.
Good.
But
the first impressions
will open the door. But your actions afterwards will keep the door open. The first impression may open the door. Someone may even open the door for you for free sometimes. But if your actions and your ability to be agile does not meet that, the next time you find yourself out. So product experience for me is very key. And when I say product experience, I'm talking about we as human beings. Okay. Sometimes you get the opportunity to meet someone for the first time. We have talks and sessions where we educate people on elevator pitch. We say sometimes you meet someone, you don't have too much time. Within a period of about just 30 seconds, you need to be able to tell the person what you do. This is your first moment of truth, the opportunity for you to show yourself to the person. Now the person says, come over to my office and now I give you a small task to execute, and you realize that everything you were saying was grammar, and you will not be able to deliver. That is how you don't get used again, or you don't get the opportunity to convert that person into a regular customer. So as a product, as human beings, I believe that we need to work on delivering on the product experience. Whatever we promised on our packaging, we need to be able to deliver it. If you can't deliver it, don't promise. Always aim at under promising and over delivering, so that when the people taste or the people experience you, they become the advocates for you in the subsequent markets.
Now, before we go on to the next letter in tabs, I want to remind you that we are here on the series of Climb It to the Top series, brought to you by EA, and today we are discussing the product called You. I am learning so much. I hope that you're learning. The fact is that, yes, promise, but as much as possible, you have to underpromise, and you have to delight the people by overpromising. Now, what is the next letter in tabs?
The next letter is S.
S.
Which for me signifies what I call shelf life.
Shelf life.
Or
shelf life actually reminds me of death.
Well, the truth of the matter, Joyce, is that from the day you are born, you start expiring. Just like any product, your production date, there's definitely a best before date and then also an expiry date.
So we should deal with it.
Yes.
Thank you.
And deal with it, but the question is, time can be your greatest ally, but it can also be your limiting factor. Yes. Time can be your greatest ally or your limiting factor. And what I've noticed for the past few months, I've recalibrated how I look at time nowadays. It was okay to say months and days, but now I tend to look at it in terms of festivities. So for example, I ask myself, how many Christmases do you have till you retire?
Yes.
And then all of a sudden you realize that you don't have so much time. Because when you say years, I have another 30 years to retirement, it seems a lot. But if you say you have just 30 summers, 30 Christmases, now you realize that, okay, then I need to really consider how I use this. But key for me in this shelf life parallel is for you to understand that within the period from production till expiry, you will have to keep a certain level of delivery. Keeping quality is one of the terms that I learned when I was working as the innovation and renovation. And what does keeping quality mean? It means that anytime a product is produced, let's say January 2024, up until December 2024, assuming the product is a 12-month shelf life product, anytime any person experiences the product, it should deliver a certain quality expectation. But I ask myself, there are times that we give ourselves excuses for not delivering because we were not in the mood and the timing was not right. Come again. But if you were a product, can you imagine that you buy Ideal milk? Today it makes your tea nice, but the next time you buy the same Ideal milk, you decide that it's not in the mood. So your tea is going to taste different. You will not go back to that product, would you? So there's a certain level of consistency needed within the shelf life space that we need to be professional and master. If we have a shelf life of 60 years and we've advertised that we are the best milk, and with this best milk, you are going to enjoy us between January and December, then anytime anybody experiences this product, it should be able to deliver at that same consistency. And this is very key. This is very key, that we need to consider that as individuals, as products, that our consistency throughout the period is important for us to get the repeat purchase that we need from people. So this is what TAPS actually means. And I think these are very key for us to look at in order to become the best product that we should be.
In fact, I will want you to go over it. Just tell us TAPS and then tell us what each letter means. But before you do that, someone may ask that, but we're humans. Like, I'm not just, yes, I'm a product called me, but I'm human. I am not like a product had been manufactured and then you leave it on the shelf and it goes. For a woman like this, you will go through the cycle of your period and all that. For a man, you go through a lot of things. And even as you age, there are the days that you are 1 year old, you become 10-year-old. So there are changes in your life. How do you stay consistent?
Okay, I think it's a lot to do with the mind.
Good.
It's a lot to do with the mind. And I've given this example over and over again whenever I speak to some of my mentees. I tell them that there's a receptionist whose job is to receive people when they come in.
Good.
And her role from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. is to have a smile. Call it plastic, call it natural,
Okay.
call it whatever you want to call it. The day she doesn't smile, she's not doing her job. She's able to do that from 8 to 5. But as soon as she gets home, she's frowning. And she expects the people at home to understand that she's tired.
Yeah.
For me, I believe in professionalism.
Okay.
Okay? Professionalism and consistency. If you know that you are a product and you've promised a certain experience, that experience, there should be a certain minimum required delivery. There may be the peaks and the troughs, which is understandable because we are not robots.
Yeah.
But there should be a certain minimum requirement that you would have to deliver. And it doesn't come naturally. I mean, it takes a lot of practice. That's why these professionals are professionals. They may not feel like it. He may not feel like being a footballer today, but as soon as the whistle is blown, in that 90 minutes, you will need to play, and you need to play your heart out. So I believe that with practice and with much orientation, we will be able to, at least within our shelf life, maintain a certain level of consistency. That makes us the best product and deliver the best product experience to our people.
Wow. I feel like you're talking to me directly. I feel like this conversation is directed to me personally, and hopefully wherever you're watching from, you also feel like this conversation is really speaking to you. We'll be going to the audience to take some questions. But before we do that, and I ask you another question, I would like you to kindly go through the task for us for anyone who may be wondering what it is. Let's have each letter telling us what it is briefly. Great. So that people can take notes.
Great. So like I said, for me, the first or the change in mindset is knowing that you are the only person who is going to be able to manage this product called you better than anybody else. It's in your hands. Don't hesitate to reset, refocus, and rejuvenate as much as possible so that this product becomes what it has to be. So targeting is very important. Targeting is very important. You need to understand who your consumers are. You need to be able to understand your positioning, and you need to be very conscious about your product design to be able to hit that sweet spot. Delight the customers that really matter to you. You can please all others, but the ones you need to delight them. Number 2 is packaging. Packaging. And for me, packaging, like I said, I think that you will never be able to reduce the amount of visibility you should get. Be intentionally, unapologetic, visible for the right reason. That's the caveat.
Oh, the right reasons.
For the right reason.
Okay.
You need to be important. You need to be visible for the right reason. It's also very important that your unique selling proposition, you wear it as a badge of honor. Whatever it is that makes you different, wear it as a badge of honor and make sure it is visible for the target market so that you will be chosen. Sometimes over packaging in itself and under packaging can both be a problem, but you need a balance.
All right.
The balance, because if you over package and under deliver, you would have a problem. If you also under package to be able to hold the content that you are delivering, you would also have a problem. So it's very important to capture that. And then the next one, which is the second P, has to do with promotion and adverts. Be seen, be heard, be known.
Be seen,
be heard,
be heard,
be known.
Be known.
And please don't worry about the olden parlance that said Ahnepa and Kasa. Please, this Ahnepa needs to speak. So let it speak and speak the right things. Don't hesitate to put yourself out there, volunteer for stuff, improve your network, improve your exposure so that people will experience what you have to share and be able to recommend you when it's important. Be top of mind. Toma, be top of mind.
Top of mind.
Yes. The next one has to do with your product experience. And when it comes to product experience, don't take any chance with your first moment of truth and also delivering on your second moment of truth. The impressions that you create, your first impressions, really do matter. Your actions may get you into the door, but it is your agility and your performance that will keep that door open for you. So it's very important that the first impressions, you put your best foot forward and you make sure that you make it count. And then last but not the least is shelf life, your keeping quality. It's important for you to acknowledge that you start expiring from the day you are produced.
Yeah.
Between then and your expiry date, you need to be as consistent as possible, deliver on your product or on your brand promise, so that anytime somebody comes up to you, they are assured of a certain delivery. That is what will ensure that they'll repurchase you over and over again. So that's TAPS for you.
Wow. So I can almost feel your excitement wherever you are. This is Climbing to the Top series, brought to you by EA, and today we are discussing the product called You. Now let's go back to our conversation before I check in if we do have some questions from our audience or from our audience online. All right, if we do not, we would go ahead. What are your hopes? And as I sit here, I was just thinking in my head, I'm like, wow, I will want to be a part of these conversations that will be happening in the future, because I believe that you have a lot to discuss. And knowing you personally, I know that you have a deep network of people that are changing society, making wonderful things happen in this country and outside of this country. What then are the hopes for the EA or the Climbing to the Top series in the coming days?
Yes, so this is the maiden edition. This is really just to introduce the whole talk series. Getting into 2025, there's going to be, once again, a number of sessions that we're going to be having. We're going to be sharing it with our viewers online. But most importantly, in these sessions, I talk a lot about the what.
The what?
But there are going to be masterclass sessions where we are going to be talking about the how.
Oh, wow.
Because then you would have enough time to break it down, and we can talk about targeting. How do we do it very well? Where do you start from? Where? How do we move it from step A to point B, step B? So these master classes are also going to be available. We'll be advertising it and sharing it with our audience and our network as and when they are available. And we're going to make sure that people, as many people as possible, get to be a part of this master class. Going into the future, we also expect that we are going to be creating some coaching and mentorship for people that are able to be identified as the ones who qualify. There's going to be some qualification criteria. We'll sift through it, and then because the quality of any mentorship depends on the relationship, and it also depends on the amount of time that the mentor and the coach would have for the person. So it's important that you connect the right people together so that they will be able to scale up. In the future, we are looking at being able to identify some very good businesses, startups by young enterprising individuals. There will be funding and investment options. We put people together, help them to put together their business plans, etc., so that they can actually walk the talk of being part of a critical mass. And as time goes on, we'll see how we can also bridge the gap between corporate and also some of these upcoming youth and young entrepreneurs. Create some form of network and database, so that when corporate is looking for certain kind of people with the right mindset, at least they know that they can be able to consult with EA and they'll be able to get it. So this is how the story looks like going forward.
Wow, I'm so excited. The future looks bright. So audience, please, you can send in your questions whichever platform you're watching us on. If you're on LinkedIn, you're on Facebook, you are also on YouTube, please send in your questions. We're here to answer. We also have a little live audience here, so if you have questions, we'd like to take them. You know, when you were speaking, and I got excited when you said that we're going to have master classes, because I really believe in master classes, because really it tells you the how of doing things, because people would say, and so what? After speaking all this while, and so what? And also the funding. Then, having been in corporate all this while, there's a thing that usually every year you're scared when you receive national service people coming into your organization, and usually you expect them to have some of the brightest ideas, or you expect them to challenge some of the things that you have. But sometimes they come in and then you feel like, oh my God, this is a burden. And for me, every year when I was in corporate, I always had to deal with that. And sometimes it gets on my nerves. So it is good to have the EA series being able to harness this. But others will say that, how do we trust that all these are going to happen? We have master classes, we have mentorship and coaching, we have Young Entrepreneurs Club. So how sure that all these that you are telling us today are really going to happen?
Well, at a point you need to believe. At a point you need to believe, because for me and Joyce, like you know, I have a passion for people.
You do.
And I believe that we all need to play our part in leaving our society better than we came to meet it.
True.
Okay, there's been a lot that has been learned. And whenever I speak to any of my colleagues in C-suites, and they all face the same difficulty and the challenge. They talk about how that you need to almost bend backwards to pull people up to your level before you can run. And everybody is looking for people who are already on the tracks, ready to run.
That's true.
And anybody who is doing that, usually it's very easy to get people to support those people to go further. So gauging the mindset of the people I've spoken to, God willing and God helping us to be able to do what we have targeted to do, the sky is the limit. We are going to try as much as possible to execute this. There's a whole carefully laid out plan and a team right behind me who are going to really help to make sure that what we've dreamed as a master plan is going to come out the way that we want.
Audience, I want to tell you that I hope that you believe all that had been said here, because I have worked with Edwin. He's a man of his words, and as someone who under promises and over delivers, I think that you should continue to follow all his social media work. Pay attention to what he's saying, pay attention to his friends, pay attention to what is happening, and I believe that you will get to enjoy more. We are sort of at the curve of the life cycle of our conversation this morning. I'm not too sure if we have any questions coming in from our live audience. If we do have, we will read them out. And if you have comments as well, we would love to read them out. If there is anything that we have said that resonates with you that you want to hammer on, you're welcome. Now, I want to ask, what advice would you give to young people who may be feeling overwhelmed by the challenges? And you may also chip in what we go through by watching things online and on social media as well. What should we do as young people?
Okay, so I think it's in the book of Proverbs that says that if your strength fails in the time of adversity, then your strength is small. Okay, gold, iron, all of them are forged through heat and pressure. If there is no pressure, very likely your formation is suspect. So I think that is important, that as a person who has gone through all sorts of pressure myself and continues to go through it, you need to understand that it's part of the process and you need to be able to embrace it.
Yes.
But in embracing this, the battle is in the mind.
The battle is in the mind.
The battle is a battle for your mindset. It's a battle to break you down. So you need to strengthen your mindset by listening to the right things and fortifying yourself. And secondly, you need to also strengthen your body, because no matter how good your mind is, you need a fit body to be able to withstand some of the vicissitudes of life and some of the pressures that is required for you to be able to go through things and move it from point A to point B. So work on your mind, work on your body, and then the last one is your spirit. And I am not ashamed to say that I am a Christian and I have my source of power. When the world hits you in so many ways and sometimes nobody is able to help you, you need to reconnect with that supreme being and then ask him for strength to be able to keep going. So build your mind, build your body, take care of your mind, what goes in, take care of your body, what you put into, and make sure that you are consistently connected to your superpower, which for me is God. And make sure, and these three, I believe, will be able to hold you. Now, you mentioned something about social media and the benefits and maybe the impacts that it has. I think social media is a tool that has come to stay.
A tool.
It has come to stay. It can only become, it will only get worse. Now, the question is, what do you do with it? And how you use it to your advantage. Okay? One of the things that is important, even in building your visibility, is one of the things we should have mentioned at promotion, is what kind of digital footprint are you leaving? Within the past few interviews that I've had to do for recruitment, as soon as the CV comes to you, we go in and look at your profile or your social media engagements.
Please hold on. So for everyone who is listening, and today you're hearing it from here, the Climbing to the Top series, please, anytime your CV gets somewhere very important, your social media profile is looked at. Please continue.
Yes, because the reality is that you have a very, as for CV writing, today it's made very easy. There's different ways people can write a lot on their CVs, but what people actually are a little bit nonchalant about or carefree about is the things that they put on social media. So sometimes the real them is what you see them putting on social media. So when we look at your CV and juxtapose that with what you've put on social media, we are able to gauge what your values are, what is important to you, and see whether you are the right fit for the organization. Actually, at least that's what I do, and I know a couple of other recruiters also do that. And it speaks to us. So if you are going to consider that as a touch point, then you need to be careful what you put there and be intentional what you put there. And because it might be one of the things that will make and unmake you. So social media is going to be, it's a tool. Open up yourself to take advantage of it instead of trying to fight it, because I believe it has come to stay.
All right. And that is very important. I would say that so many of the things and so many of the successes that I have documented came from actually how I was promoting myself on social media. Right. It is important that you take that platform with all the seriousness that you can. In fact, we have very beautiful comment here. But before we do that, you know that I will not allow you to leave this conversation without telling us how. So you spoke about to take care of our body, take care of our mind and our spirit. And I know that you're very big on mindset. Very big on mindset. I want you to tell us, how do we take care of our body? I have known you, and every year I see you, it's almost as though you're aging backwards. So how do we take care of our body? How do we take care of our mind? And you spoke a little bit about spirituality that is connecting with God, but how do we do all that? Also knowing that you're a deacon.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Joyce. I'm not sure about the aging backwards, because as for the gray hair, it keeps popping up at different places.
It's okay.
Now, Joyce, you've asked something very important to me, and it's about the mindset and how we manage it. For me, I would share what I know. And like I said, EA series is no bullshit. There's no point in doing that. One of the things that I have consistently done that I think helps in shaping of the mindset is making sure that I keep around me only quality people. OQP is what I call it.
OQP.
Only quality people. Everybody in my network plays a role in how I function. There are a couple of them that will have a lot more share of voice, a couple of them that will have less interactions, but everybody there has a role that they play in shaping my mindset.
Thank you.
And I keep it with jealousy.
Yes.
Because if you allow yourself, the negative storyteller is going to keep on whispering things into your mind about how you will not be able to do it, about how you are going to die, about how everything you've tried will fail, about the negative storyteller, he's always out there. But then if you are able to inject a lot more positive storytelling into your mindset, you realize that the net effect is that you will become a lot more positive than a lot more people. Exactly. And nature has a way of pushing you towards anything that you think about positively.
Yes.
Everything around you would work towards the fact that you are positive. And it will be surprising that your mindset will cause everything that you are touching to happen. But that does not take away the need for expertise. So it's also very important the kind of people you have. Make time to speak to them. I used to be very big on reading. Now I don't think I read as often as I want to. But I have very deep conversations with people.
Yeah.
I speak to them and I ask them questions. I ask them questions so that what I would have read in a book, on a 200-page book, they'll be able to give to me in 20 minutes. And I ruminate on it at the quiet of the day. Take out the lessons that are required for me to move on. So that's how I protect my mindset. I make sure that I have a net positive inflow of good thoughts.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that negative thoughts don't hit you every day. They come every day. But push the negatives aside, go ahead with the positives. And back it up with the knowledge. That's why you need to have mentors and you need to have coach. You need to have people that you can pick up a phone and say, this particular thing, I'm clueless.
Yeah.
What do you know about it? How can you help me?
Exactly.
And those people should be quality people to be able to help you. Now, for the spirituality part, without sounding too biblical or spiritual, it is very important for you to sit under the sheep and under the foot of a good spiritual leader.
Yeah.
Who is going to be able to share the unadulterated word of God with you. Because guess what? When the woes of this life come and they hit you,
yes,
it is the word inside you that comes out.
That's true.
It is not the one that is in the mouth of your archbishop or the mouth of a pastor. Even when you try to call the pastor, sometimes you may not get him. It is the word that you've put inside you that comes out. And it is your faith that you have in the spiritual being that you worship. I, for instance, is God. That will help you to be able to sail through. So it's important that it's really a battle of what do you allow to get inside you. You know, it is said that the only time a ship will sink is when it allows water to get inside it.
Yes.
It is not the water outside of the a ship that sinks it. The water that is allowed to get in. So protect your mind, because that's where the battlefield is.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. And speaking of which, so we have Kenneth Awuku who says, interesting conversation. Hamidu Karimu says, great insights that you're sharing. Alexander Nyako Enim says, the man is very deep. Indeed, he is very deep. And we have Safwa Ampofo who says, great insight. We also have Ernest Amwako who says, be seen, be heard, and be known. That is one of the things you shared with us. Okay. And then also we have Caleb who says, be top of mind, Toma. And then we have, again, Caleb saying the future is exciting. Yes. Indeed, the future is exciting. Can you believe that we have been having this conversation for more than 55 minutes?
Wow.
Yes. It sounds almost like we've just been speaking for like 15 minutes. Yeah. So we have 5 minutes to end this conversation, and I would like you to give us what will be your takeaway. So for someone who had been all over the place and they have been listening, but they are thinking, what is he saying? What will be what they should keep top of mind? Great.
So three key things. Number one, and I cannot emphasize this enough, you are the product manager of the brand called you. Mm-hmm. Reset, refocus, rejuvenate as much as is needed for you to achieve what you have to do. Okay? Number two, the battle is in the mind.
The battle is in the mind.
The battle is in the mind. Protect your mindset. Make sure that you have a net positive thoughts going in. Mm-hmm. And then number three, if you don't remember anything, just think about TAPS. Okay? TAPS, that in positioning yourself as a product, ask yourself, number one, would you buy you if you were a product?
Buy you?
And if you wouldn't buy you, then you need to reconsider how you position yourself. And in doing that, identify who your target market is. Who are you speaking to? What are you selling to them? Okay, how are you positioning yourself? Number two, what packaging are you showing out there? Are you visible enough? If you were amidst a clutter of different products, what will make you stand out? Are you conscious about this? Number three, the third part is your promotion and your advertisement. Be unapologetically visible, please. Put yourself out there for the right reason. For the right reason. Put yourself out there for the right reason. So that you are part of the consideration set when the choice needs to be made. Number 3 is the product experience. At any point in time, at any point, anybody would interact with you. What do you want the person to take away? At the end of this interview, people are going to take away something. Would it be what I expected them to, or they'll take away something else? That's what brand image and brand personality comes in. Yeah. Sometimes as a brand, you position it that you want it to be this way. This is how you want it to be. Yeah. But people take it and they do whatever they want with it. That's, for more of that, come into the masterclass. Then the last one is the shelf life and the keeping quality. You've promised a certain experience. Yeah. Just make sure that within the period that you live, if anybody is to test you within that period, you will be able to deliver the minimum delivery that is expected of your product. And then the last one, as we sign up, is that this is just the beginning. The conversations will be ongoing. You are going to be hearing from me. You're going to be hearing from some of my friends who I'm going to be having on this show. We are going to talk with no filter, no bullshit. Yes. There's no need for us to bullshit. Yeah. We will only be giving you what we've learned.
Thank you.
You may not find it verbatim in any textbook, but this is the school of life. Yes. What people have gone through, it's what they want to pour out. Why do they want to do that? We need to have a critical mass of people who are willing to do the best so that our country, the world, will be a better place than when we left it off. So watch out, follow us for the next the next session of the talk series. Follow us on all our hashtag EA Talk series and also Climbing to the Top. But you can also get us on at Edwin Amwako on Facebook, on LinkedIn, and also on the Instagram. And you can also follow EA Consult on LinkedIn and on Facebook, and also on LinkedIn and Facebook. And then you would be able to hear more from us and catch the train. This train is going somewhere.
It is.
So get on board. Let's do this together.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Edwin Amwako. So this has been Climbing to the Top series, brought to you by EA, and he is Edwin Amwako. In fact, today we have been talking about the product called You. I have learned a lot. I would say that when it comes to shelf life, it was as if it was being spoken to me personally, and that is what I am going to be taking from here. But more importantly, there's something I want to remind you of. It says, be seen, be heard, be known. So if you haven't taken anything at all from our conversation today, I believe that that is something you would like to take care of. My name is Joy Sakite Ahiadome, and I am a conversation facilitator. Thank you so much for joining us for this wonderful conversation. And please do not forget, or rather, remember to follow us on all social media handles: EA Consult, EA Series, Climbing to the Top series, and we'll catch you up next time. Thank you and have a beautiful day. Thank you.